What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 23, Michael Jordan episode of Wings on Catella. I am Taylorblakeward, managing editor for the Sporting Tribune. Today we have our semi-regular cast, panel, etc., category of people. We are missing Zachcav, who is on a plane to Boston at the moment to cover the Anaheim Ducks, but we are going to talk Angels, and some more Angels today. For that, we have Jack Janes, covers the Los Angeles Angels for the Sporting Tribune. You can find his work on socials and etc. at JackJanes_Jack. How you doing, man? How's AZ?
I'm doing good. I am tired. It's at that point of the semester where you just feel tired at all points of the day. Just getting through it.
Control the baseball, buddy.
I know.
Well,
no control of the ball.
If I ask you to control the baseball, I have to ask everyone to control the baseball, which is very challenging these days. Thomas Murray is also with us, covers the Angels, among other things, for the Sporting Tribune. Thomas, what's going on, dude?
Not much, man. I just realized, it is a Michael Jordan episode, and today is the NBA season opener. So that's pretty.
So that's a thing that is happening.
Yeah.
I apologize
Taylor, how are you?
I am flustered, frustrated, among other things, and that has nothing to do with anything that we're going to talk about. A laptop. I am not in my usual office space, and laptop is on my lap. So thus the term laptop. So I'm a little flustered trying to figure that out. We're going to talk Angels stuff. Angels made some big announcement. Made a big announcement today. The hiring of Kurt Suzuki as their next manager. Full transparency, I texted you guys. So we were recording it Tuesday at 4:45 in the afternoon. Full transparency, about 26 hours ago, I texted you guys saying, hey, anticipate a Kurt Suzuki announcement. This was, once Albert Pujols and Torrey Hunter were out of the equation, I think this was almost a gimme. You know, it was one of those, like, let's prep for this. I think Kurt was very much at the forefront of the interview process. We're going to kind of break down our thoughts, break down what this means. If you guys want to follow us along, we all work at the Sporting Tribune, www.thesportingtribune.com. Jack Janes, what were your initial thoughts? Kurt Suzuki hired to be the next manager of the Angels.
It's hard to have initial thoughts because, I mean, on one hand, it's, in-house hire. He's the cheaper option, which has kind of been the MO of how the team has kind of operated the last couple of years. Obviously, I'm not sure what big ticket manager was out there that the Angels could have brought in that's better than him, because we don't know exactly, besides Brandon Hyde and Rocco Baldelli, that they've reportedly were planning on talking to. There really wasn't that many options that were really considered for this. So I guess I wasn't necessarily shocked in a way, but it also, we might get into this later on, I don't know, or maybe in a future episode, but I've said this in our little text chat, it's six managers and 3 GMs over the last decade, and it's been the same results every single year. So it's hard for me to kind of see how a new manager is going to really change things. So I guess we just kind of wait and see. But I guess I didn't really have that much of a reaction when I first saw the news.
That's fair. Thomas, initial thoughts when you heard about Kurt?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing we've talked about on here in the past episodes is what we thought about Albert Pujols and Torrey Hunter, right? And I think most of the podcasts agree that nobody really liked that idea necessarily too much. So, I mean, it's not the most desirable job in baseball. It's like everybody was saying, well, it's 1 of 30. So there's not too much to really think about, especially just because, Kurt's a first time manager. I've read around that like people really like him. They think he's a bright up and coming mind in baseball. So there's that takeaway. The one comparison that I've seen all over the place is comparable to Vo over in Cleveland. So I'm like, okay, there's something there. There's some positivity. That's what everyone's kind of saying is like Kurt's a very positive guy, very happy-go friendly dude. So I'm like, okay, that's nice. It'll definitely keep the vibes good in the clubhouse, but not to say like vibes are ever bad, with previous manager. I mean, it's just like Jack was saying though, Angels have a long list of problems, and there's a reason why you've had 6 managers over the last 10 years or so, almost 10 years, and they got bigger issues. So I don't know what Kurt Suzuki will do to kind of fix everything that's going on. I don't think this is oh my gosh, they're gonna be a World Series caliber team now. They're going to be in the playoffs every year. Like, they have bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think I'm just going to kind of broad scale this. There was some negative connotation with Kurt when he was an Angel. Some of it political, which we won't get into. You know, just to give you a glimpse into what baseball is, if you base your opinion on baseball players on their political party, about 90% of them lean in a specific direction. So lean on that. And also his playing. He didn't play well when he was an Angel. I think he was the least valuable player in baseball. And that left a sour taste in people's mouth. That does not mean that Kurt is a bad guy. It does not mean he's a bad baseball mind. He was at the tail end of his career, and it was pretty bad. To give you a degree of what Kurt did with the organization the last 3 years. So he retired in 2022 after a 16-year career as a catcher. Became the primary catcher for some very high-end pitchers, Shohei Ohtani, Max Scherzer among the group there. After his playing career, became a special assistant with the Angels, special assistant to Perry Manassian, and basically his whole purpose and workload when it came to working with the Angels was kind of game day strategist, which we talked about in the podcast recently, but kind of game day strategist across the entire farm system. That includes some big league stuff, game day strategist, and a little bit of development stuff behind the plate. So some of the catchers, you know, the Juan Flores's, Marlon Quinteros, not Chad Wallach, but Miles Emerson's of the world. Those guys got instruction from Kurt over the last few years here. This is a guy that we mentioned. It's a good clubhouse guy, high energy guy, very well respected, very well liked as a guy that understands the process of coming to work every day and putting in the work so that you can process the work. I think it was, I remember if it was Joe Madden that said it, and I pulled up an old MLB.com interview, but I think it was Joe Madden said it, is he does his homework. And when you're doing your homework, that's what you have to do. And understanding the manager's position is you have to, you're coming to work every day. It's an 8 to 4, you know, a lot of people have a 9 to 5, 8 to 4 job, 40 hours a week. Baseball can be similar, and you can treat it that way, is that you're going to work to do your job, and part of that work is assessing the night before. Kurt is one of those guys. Thomas, you mentioned it, first-time manager, has zero managerial experience. I am very against that, adamantly against that, personally. I think that's something you don't want to hire, something you don't want to do. But at the same time, if you have a catcher that has 16 years of decision-making, you have a guy that's done some game day strategists, good homework, good communication, multicultural relationship building, that's all positives. It's all positives when it comes to Kurt, minus the part that he has not made in-game decisions at the forefront as a manager under any circumstances. If he would have had 10 games in single A, I would have been a little happier than the nosy games. But I think, Jack, you mentioned it. It doesn't move the needle. This is not a needle-moving thing. The one thing about Kurt is that, you know, he has a good relationship with some of the clubhouse already, established good relationship with some of the clubhouse, has a extremely good rapport with umpires across the league. I believe he got ejected twice over his 16-year career, which is a very remarkable statistic, and also a good rapport with the front office. You know, this is going to be a good connection. He's very he knows what he's getting himself into. That's the big thing. It is, he knows where ownership is. He knows where the front office is. He knows where the organization is because he's a part of building that process. Same thing as Ray Montgomery was, right? Ray Montgomery had the same thing. I don't know. I'm not going to say it's underwhelming, but it's definitely not overwhelming by any sense as to this hiring. Jack, when you were going through this process with Kurt and everything like that, this open floor, would you have done anything different if you were the Angels? I'm just trying to, big process thoughts. There's nothing that can change. Nothing we say can change anything, but we can at least express our feelings as to what this means for the Angels as we cover this team. And I got to cover Kurt in person, you know, when he was a player. I know Thomas, Jack, I don't believe you guys did. Thomas, maybe a little bit?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I did meet him last year, though, and I said hi to him. So
okay,
it was
yeah.
like a kind of drive-by, hi, guys. Deal.
Kurt's an outstanding guy. He's a good dude.
He seems really nice, seems very friendly. You know, I was watching, like, one of the podcasts that I saw had been popping up on Twitter of him talking about playing baseball at Cal State Fullerton. So, it really just kind of caught my eye because I'm like, okay, let's see what kind of person he is, where his mind is at baseball wise, right? And so, like, the one thing that he was just talking about in college is just, the style of baseball that they were playing at Cal State Fullerton was just very much move the next runner over, a lot of small ball kind of stuff, which, I mean, you look at the Angels roster, I think they would benefit tremendously from that, just looking at the roster as it is right now and, how they could win games, they could sneak by on games like that. So that's one thing that kind of catches my eyes. Like, okay, maybe they'll lay off trying to have everyone hit 30 plus stingers a year or so.
That's fair. I mean, like, going back to that, something I was going to say is I said it could always be worse. It could be Rick Vanderhook. I'll be the one that says it. It could be Ray Vanderhook. It could be John Savage. I don't know. Like, it could be Tony Vitello, by the way. Gun ho, Tony V. Big on that one.
Hey, you called it.
We'll touch on that a little later. I mean, this is a guy that's he's a baseball mind for the last 20, 30 years. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to be a great manager. Doesn't mean he's going to make great decisions, but at least he knows what he's doing in the dugout because he's been there before, right? Jack, thoughts on this? I had a thought process and I completely, but yeah, super good dude. That's the one thing I want to say about Kurt. Awesome guy. Really a good guy. It doesn't mean he's gonna be a good manager. Doesn't mean anything, but he's a good dude.
Yeah, I've briefly met him a couple of times just in passing, and he was nice to everyone around. But what sticks out to me is he's a hard worker and he's one of the toughest players out there. If I remember correctly, the story is he didn't get recruited to Cal State Fullerton. He showed up and said, "I want to try out." And he busted his butt and earned his way onto the roster, earned his way to, All-American and won a national title with Cal State Fullerton in 2004. Obviously, busted his butt, continued and got drafted and made his way through the majors, 16-year career, all that good stuff. I do like catchers becoming managers just because they have to manage the game already as a player, so they have an idea of it going into, going behind the bench. Oh, I had a thought on this and it escaped my mind. But yeah, overall, I think, like you said, it's not the worst decision they could have made. And I think you were asking me what I'd do any differently. I guess I would say the only thing that I would do differently was kind of maybe have a more extensive, interview process in terms of just interviewing more candidates, because obviously, we haven't really had any information released yet on how the interview process works, but it sounds like once, Pujols and Hunter didn't work out, it kind of seemed like they just defaulted to Suzuki and didn't really give the outside voices and the outside candidates a real shot at this job. So maybe that's the one thing I do differently. Even then, I'm not going to say this is a bad hire. I'm not going to say this is a good hire. I get why they hired him, and I could also see fans wanting to look outside of the organization.
Yeah. Confirmed to the Sporting Tribune, we only have 3 interviews confirmed, and you mentioned Albert Torre. Rumored that Brandon Hyde was getting a look, Rocco Baldelli was getting a look, Ryan Flaherty was getting a look. I don't know. We don't have that confirmed with the Sporting Tribune, so I don't know. Baldelli and Hyde obviously have past experience as managers. Flaherty is a big up-and-coming name and is going to probably get a job this year with all the vacancies that are still across baseball. You mentioned it with Albert Pujols. Obviously, it didn't take a rocket scientist to know that if Artie wanted Albert, he could have had Albert to a degree, because what Artie wants is what Artie gets. But I think Artie didn't want it that bad. I don't think Artie wanted it bad enough to pay the money. A lot of reports came out, and I think we're borrowing some reports from The Athletic. I believe it was Katie Wu that had the article out in St. Louis. It came down to money, and it sounded like ownership for the Angels did not want to put forth the money when it came to Albert Pujols. Torrey Hunter, I'm unaware. I think Torrey is still in the Twins managerial candidacy. I think Albert is with the Padres candidacy and also maybe at Baltimore. What are you guys' thoughts? I mean, surprised. I don't even want to ask that question because I know the answer, but surprised that Artie would not want to put forth the money towards a manager. We don't know what Kurt's contract's going to be. Thomas, I saw you, and I'm sorry that I'm echoing on your computer, man.
No, you're good. I don't think it's picking up at all. I think leaving my mic muted should be okay. I'm not surprised by any means. I mean, this is the same ownership where the report came out earlier this month that there's no air conditioning in the weight room. You know what I mean? So it's not surprised that Angels ownership would probably cheap out on something like this. That's kind of why I think they hired Suzuki. I really think this year now is kind of turning the corner. This year is really a make or break hire for not only Kurt Suzuki, who could be a one and done like Brad Osmus, it's also a make or break year for Perry Manassian as well, where you're kind of looking forward and you're like, they both could be gone by, this time next year. They're searching for a new GM and a new manager all over again. So that's kind of why I think they probably went with Suzuki, especially just because he's the cheaper option. Because if you decide to move on from him and the GM, cool, easy. Just wash your hands and walk away from it. So it's not surprising at all, though.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine it is. Jack, more to it?
Yeah, do you want the short answer or the long answer?
Whichever one you got, buddy.
Short answer, no. You want the long? I mean, just to add on, yeah, just, you look at how the Angels have operated the last decade. They, Artie Moreno's cut corners in certain areas. It just makes it not that surprising that they only looked in-house and then they, hired probably one of the cheapest options that they had, available to them. But yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, I have been a firm believer that Artie Moreno understands the business is that winning brings in revenue. I believe Artie has a desire to win for the revenue's sake. I think he cares a bit about winning, a little bit, and I think it's mostly about the money, only a little bit about the team. But it's just time and time again, ownership comes back with something new, right? And think about the timing of this announcement. We'll get into it a little bit. This announcement came out about, half an hour after Mike Trout left the stand in court for the Tyler Skaggs trial. And then the press conference tomorrow, I believe. I don't know who's going on in I don't know who's in court tomorrow, but it's just like it's good PR. That's good business. You can't deny the Angels PR staff or the team for making the announcement when they did. That's just a smart move, business move, because the majority of people that are paying attention aren't paying attention to both stories. But yeah, I mean, like we said, it's not overwhelming. It's not necessarily underwhelming. Kurt Suzuki is going to have to prove some points. Thomas, you mentioned it. Perry Manassian in the last year of his contract coming up this year. We don't know the length of the contract for Kurt. We don't know what his coaching staff is going to be. I would assume some names are coming back and returning. Just, I don't know where to go with it beyond the fact. And Thomas, you're going to be at the press conference tomorrow, the introductory press conference for Kurt. So you'll have a little bit more full clarity. I think we're going to do another Wings on Catella later in the week with Zach, talk some Ducks a little bit. We'll talk some Angels still. And I think Thomas is going to have quite a bit more on this. But I think for right now, just it's not a bad hire. Jack, you mentioned it should have been a lot more extensive than it was. So we're going to go a little short today. We're going to talk a few more things, but any last thoughts here on the Kurt Suzuki stuff?
I just think,
you go, Jack.
Like Tom's touched on, it's Perry Manassian's last year in his contract. Unless they completely turn things around this year, which I have my doubts, I don't see Manassian signing another extension here. I would imagine this is probably it, because I don't see this team, all of a sudden making a push for the playoffs and jumping up, 20 wins in the standings. So it wouldn't surprise me if this is kind of, I don't know, Perry. Well, how do I say this the right way without sounding mean? It's like it's Perry's last hire. He's going to stay in house. There's no managerial candidate out there that's really going to save his job at this point.
Perry has options here, right? To a degree. First option is he has no options because the team is bad again. He loses his position, or just is not retained, or is fired at some point. And then the other position is that he does turn this team around. They become a playoff team and do something. They're playing in October next year, and suddenly Perry Manassian is a candidate for other jobs, right? So, no, I'm with you, Jack. I think this is a weird last hire. I know there's some people out there in particular that are... Is my internet going out, guys?
Shoot, I think we lost
my internet
Taylor.
Go out?
I know. Oh, you're just got back. Yep.
Yeah, it might be me. Are we good? Are we back?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. I lost my train of thought. But either way, there's people that were upset about the timing of this, is that just the contracts just don't line up. So we'll see. We'll see what Kurt gets. We'll see what the contracts are, and we'll see how long it lasts. Thomas, last thoughts on this?
Yeah, The one thing that we were all saying was just Pujols would have been the total Artie guy, the total Artie Moreno hire. Just kind of researching around and things like that. I believe it was a few years ago, Perry Manassian did give a lot of credit to Kurt Suzuki and, said he thinks he's a bright young baseball mind. So I'm kind of curious, like, how much influence did Perry have in this whole hire right here? And Jack, going to what you were going to call it, this is definitely Perry Manassian's last dance with the Angels. See what happens. Does he save his job or not? But I feel like he did kind of have some sort of influence on this hire, just because they got someone that he's worked closely with the last couple of years, and again, someone that he really likes. So that's the one thing I think. Ultimately, if they make the playoffs, which is probably unlikely, Perry will save his job. Or even if they finish with a 500 record, I mean, at least you're seeing something trend in the right direction, right?
No. I mean, at this stage, I get what you're saying, Thomas. You have to trend in you have to
what
have
if
to
they're
have a
like
positive
2 games
movement.
out?
Yeah, if they finish 2 games out of a playoff spot.
Yeah, like 2 games out, just something really close.
Yeah,
like
that
just
might
missed the wild card or something.
That might do it, but we've mentioned on the show before, man. 500 cannot be a goal. At this stage in the contracts, 500 cannot be a goal. The goal has to be to go win a World Series. Now, you have to make the playoffs first, right? And that's the primary thing. And 11-year drought is too much. But no, I hate to disagree with you that strongly, but no, 500 cannot be the goal. It can't be the marker of like positive trajectory is 500 anymore. We're past that. We're very much past that.
I mean, I agree, but I'm saying if they, finish couple, it can't really. But
88 wins or something like 89 wins, right?
A couple wins out of a wild card. Okay, they show significant, like, that is significant improvement.
But when have they ever made that significant improvement?
That's what it's like. Yeah, definitely. You can't.
And the holes that they have on their roster, I don't think one free agency class is going to fix all those holes. So
no,
I just don't see how this team is going to be competing for a playoff spot next year.
You need Tyler Bremner to come out and beat Brian Wu, and you need Zach Kavanaugh to beat Bobby Witt, and you need Joe Waddell to be Ronald Acuna, and you need, everyone has had their positive trajectory. We saw it this last year, and it fell apart as it has before. 73 wins. Yeah, you could have probably won 81 games this year. I bet you could have found 8 games that they could have won that they lost. Next year, if they win 81 games, are you going to find those 8 games that they could have won and been an 89-win team and been a playoff spot? You got to make the playoffs next year. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow if you're a big supporter of this team and a believer. If you believe in this team moving forward through the winter into next year, it's playoffs or nothing, man. It's playoffs or nothing. And Thomas, you're right. If it's an 89-win team, 90-win team, and you're out of the playoffs by a game on game 161, 162, that's different. But it's still got to be the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. And that's kind of what I was meaning, though. Not just finish right at 500, but like, hey, they actually do finish above 500, but, a couple games shy, a game or 2 shy or something. See what happens, I guess.
Speaking of playoffs, speaking of the last time the Angels were on a positive trajectory, Jerry Dipoto and the Seattle Mariners were eliminated from the postseason last night at the hands of the Toronto Blue Jays. I have a lot of thoughts on this, guys. It's personal stuff that dates back a while, so just I'm going to let that ride. Any thoughts on the ALCS or NLCS is fine, too. The Dodgers clinched on Friday, swept the Brewers. It wasn't really competitive. I was surprised by that. I mentioned it at the start of the playoffs. I thought the Dodgers bullpen was not going to even get them past the Phillies. So congratulations to the Dodgers. Had another second consecutive World Series, looking to win back-to-back. ALCS was very fun. Any thoughts you guys have on that?
Just super quick, my only thoughts on the NLCS was the best way to, deal with the Dodgers bullpen from a Dodgers perspective is just have your starters go 9 innings. So they took care of that pretty well.
Yeah, that helped.
That'll help.
That was a very easy way to not deal with the bullpen.
Yeah. But for the ALCS, like you said, it was fun. It was a fun series. I just feel like the playoffs just get more entertaining every year with different stuff that happens, and you know, Seattle takes two, jumps out to the 2-0 lead in Toronto, kind of unprecedented because Toronto is such a raucous environment to play in, and then, Toronto battling back. I thought it was a great series. Obviously, it's nice to see Vladimir Guerrero Jr., live up to that big contract he signed at the beginning of the year and deliver all postseason long. Hopefully he keeps that going because he's a lot of fun to watch in the World Series. So, yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. I would just like to pride myself and say, don't count the Dodgers out, because that's what I said to both of you, and you guys had the Phillies. But yeah, no, it was a great it was a great playoff. It was a great October. It was a lot of fun watching all the baseball this past month. Kind of crazy how it ended up being night and day between the American League and the National League. How the National League, we all thought, that's the best league in baseball, right? And I feel like we kind of expected more competitive games out of the National League versus we actually got that more in the American League, especially this Seattle and Blue Jay series. I mean, this one just took the cake. This was awesome. Game 7. And then even then it went, it was George Springer in the 8th inning last night just kind of hit one out of the park and just totally flipped the script on the whole thing. I remember when Seattle won Game 5, I thought, oh geez, they're gonna do this. Like there's no way they can lose 2 straight to Toronto, especially with that pitching. And then Toronto just ended up pulling this awesome comeback in the series. And no, it was a lot of fun, and I think the World Series will be pretty fun. I think it'll be much more competitive than what the Dodgers run to the World Series was. Pretty much dominated Philadelphia and then just had their way with Milwaukee.
I don't think this is going to happen, but it would be so cool if we get a Clayton Kershaw versus Max Scherzer game.
That'd be amazing. I really would love that. Thomas, you and I were texting last night. I worked for a minor league baseball team, the High Desert Mavericks, in 2012. I had some help there at 11 and 13 as well, and stayed with it in 14. Lancaster was the Houston affiliate at the time, and they were their closest team. So I got incredibly familiar with their players, connected with them very well. I just want to rattle off some names from the 2011 to 2014 Lancaster Jethawks. Jose Altuve, John Singleton, Jonathan Villar, Jose Cisnero, Jake Buchanan, 2012. We move forward, which is the big year. Delino DeShields Jr., Kike Hernandez, Carlos Perez, Domingo Santana, George Springer, Jorge De Leon, David Martinez, Nick Tropiano. Let me see, 13 here. I'm going to pull up 13. Matt Duffy, Nolan Fontana, Tyler Heineman, Preston Tucker. This pitching staff was insane. You had Chris Davinsky, Mike Voltanevich, Mike Hauschild, Jordan Jankowski, Brady Rogers, David Rollins, Vince Velasquez, and I think 14, it even got better with the pitching staff. Let's see, Carlos Correa was on that 14 staff, Teoscar Hernandez, Tony Kemp, Jack Mayfield, Brett Phillips, Rio Ruiz, Tyler White, Mark Appel, Josh Hader was on that team, Kent Emanuel, Lance McCullers. You get the point. It's just these Lancaster teams were loaded, and the best 2 guys on either of those teams are 2 of the best guys I've ever met, 2 of the best guys that have been in baseball. George Springer, Carlos Correa. I know there's a lot of flack about the trash can gate in 2000, the cheating scandal in 2017, and that Correa and George were both a part of that. I just want to make a note. George Springer is the absolute best of best people. I hate that he was caught up in that, but he's such a good dude. So happy. George is an October legend at this point, but a moment like that, new city, get away from Houston, live up to the Toronto stuff. So happy for George. So beyond happy for George Springer. Just such a good dude. Deserves it. I mentioned, Kike Hernandez and Teoscar were both on those teams too, and obviously for the Dodgers, and happy for those guys. Thomas, you and I were also talking last night about something, and this very much involves the Angels. The Vladimir Guerrero Jr. load of crap that has to do with Jerry Dipoto. Everyone and their mother believes that Vlad Guerrero, for some reason or another, was going to sign with the Angels as an international amateur. That's inaccurate. It's just, I'm going back to sources back in 2016, 17, when he signed. This is a decade ago. I met Vlad Jr. when he was like 13 years old, 14 years old. He was in the Angels Stadium dugout. Good kid. He was signing with Toronto from the time he was 14 or 15. Regardless. I just want to make that clear. Like, he was not going to be an Angel. So if anyone has an article that says he was going to be an Angel, feel free to send it to me. I would love to read it because it's misinformation. He was going to Toronto from the get-go. He was never going to be an Angel as an international free agent. And if you want to get into the Roberto Baldacchini stuff, I'm just going to go full transparency here on it. That was strictly Jerry Dipoto. They had a workout. Jerry Dipoto invited a bunch of people down there to the workout, including scouting directors, etc. And all of them said, why are we giving this kid a dime? Jerry was offended at that. I think people were fired over those comments that were made about Roberto Baldacchini. I love Roberto the kid. I wish him well. He was not worth $8 million or $16 million or fines when it comes to Angels international spending at all, by any means. There's also another thing we can talk about ownership on that stuff. There was a lot of scandals that were apparently hidden during that time on the international front. That is all hearsay. I can't confirm any of that stuff. Artie Moreno apparently didn't want to spend money on the international front because of what was going on with the Atlanta Braves crap, and that was even before that. A lot of stuff there, but like, if you were a believer that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was ever going to be an Angel from the time he was 15 years old to the time he was 25 years old, you gotta lose that mindset because it's just inaccurate. So, soapbox is done. I'm off the soapbox. Sorry, boys.
You're saying Artie Moreno was involved in scandals?
No.
I know.
You remember Atlanta GM?
Yeah.
It's banned from ball. Everyone did that. He was the scapegoat. The thing was, he was kind of an asshole, so he was a good scapegoat because he was.
Jar.
Was that?
Swear jar.
Douchebag. Piece of crap. I don't know. What do you want to go with?
Hey,
whatever,
just
right?
throwing it back.
Okay, he was a scapegoat. Everyone was doing it, but it was more of where do you legally get through these things? Because it was just pre-negotiated. It was a mix of pre-negotiated contracts, not reporting the accurate signing bonuses, secondary fees, not giving. There was a lot of things to it, and there's belief. I can't source this, so I at this point I am talking more on hearsay speculation that is a little more than hearsay is the way I would put it. Very reliable sources that cannot make a stern comment on it is the way I would go about it. But basically, Artie Moreno kind of pulled the plug on the international stuff because of what his employees and everyone in baseball was doing, is the way I would put it. And he didn't want to have to deal with the trap of losing employees and having the nature of that stuff, is the way I would put it. So he just pulled the plug on the... I mean, go look at the Angels' international spending from 2007 to 2019. It's minimal. You know, it's very interesting. That includes Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Well, I think you just broke some hearts, but...
That's fine. No, but I mean, like, it's just one of those things, like, just...
Yeah.
I get frustration. I get frustration, but, like, it's factual. He was not going to be an Angel. Like, it... Maybe this upcoming winter, if he hadn't signed his extension, but from the time he was 15 to 25, was not going to be an Angel. He was a Blue Jay, and he was very happy to go be a Blue Jay.
I mean, I believe it. Just because his dad played there doesn't mean he has to go.
His dad played in Canada too. I think wasn't he born in Canada?
He was born in Canada, Montreal.
He was born in Toronto.
Yeah.
Montreal.
I mean, I don't know what the sales pitch is. Whatever, it worked.
No, I mean, Carlos Gomez would be one of the first ones to tell you. Carlos is the old international director for the Angels prior to... there was someone in between him and Brian, and I cannot think of it. Brian Parker, currently the international director, but yeah, you can go into that stuff. Jason Horton, big name, international market for the Angels coming up here, by the way. So keep an eye on that. The Angels were able to snag him away from the Yankees on a notable signing bonus. That's coming in January, by the way. Before we get into some court case stuff, guys, World Series predictions? You care? Anything? I'll go more full transparency here. I own like 5 baseball jerseys total, just for the sake of, like, I saw them at a swap meet or something and I was excited. I've got a Mike Trout one, I got a Jackie Robinson Dodgers one, and I have a Roy Halladay Blue Jays jersey. So if I would have planned this right, I would have either spotted up in a Jackie Robinson jersey or spotted up in a Roy Halladay jersey, but that probably would have pissed off the Angels fan base pretty good.
Was it the 2000s Blue Jays ones?
It's the Roy Halladay one, so it's the one with that blue, with the white.
Those are cool. They don't have a bad uniform.
Dude,
they don't have a bad jersey. Well,
$20 at the swap meet, like,
yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah,
That's the thing.
not a bad deal.
I get to be
I shop
unbiased,
on
bro. I don't care.
DHgate. I get my jerseys there.
Yeah. So, World Series predictions, Jack.
Yeah.
Might be Dodgers in 5 again.
Oh my. Okay, Thomas.
No, Jack took the words out of my mouth. Dodgers in 5. I'm
What's
hoping
that-
it's competitive.
What's that song by Randy Newman that they play after Dodgers victories?
I love LA.
I love LA. I love LA. And who's the rapper that you were talking about, Thomas, is from LA?
Kendrick?
Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar.
Dude, don't tell me you're gonna choose Drake over Kendrick.
Kendrick
Like in
Lamar.
terms of the rap world, like, come on. Drake's kind of a cornball. He was on Degrassi.
Well, see, there's this guy that was a rapper right around the time I was, high school age, roughly. He went by one name. He was on the Canadian version of Nickelodeon. He goes by the name of Drake. He is a Blue Jays fan. This Blue Jays offense is heavily loaded. Vlad Jr., George Springer, Alejandro Kirk. You got guys like Max Scherzer. You got Shane Bieber, my Santa Barbara guy, Shane Bieber. Give me Ice Cube to break their freaking hearts.
I was literally about to interrupt you and go, okay, is this Pat McAfee here?
Oh yeah, dude. I love
Yeah.
Pat McAfee. If I ever get a moment to be like Pat McAfee, I'm gonna take it. So give me Ice Cube to break the hearts of a whole nation.
Some
Yeah,
are saying
you're not gonna-
Toronto is America's team. Some are saying.
I heard about
Yeah, that's
that.
what a lot of people are saying.
I heard about that.
Except this little dot in California.
Yeah, well, except for you go ask John Heyman about that. So no, I'll go Dodgers in 6. I think Toronto's a fun team. I think they're a blast, but I'm gonna go Dodgers in 6.
You know what
The battle of the
difference
bad
with the
bullpens.
Dodgers and Blue Jays is?
What's that?
They don't have to rely on their unk to actually have to pitch.
Yeah,
Clayton Kershaw gets to sit. Max Scherzer has to go out there and work.
dude, Max Scherzer's such a stud.
He
His
has-
his interaction with John Schneider made me so happy. I loved it. I thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
He's a psycho. He's
Yeah, he is.
insane psycho.
You know, I bought the Max Scherzer Nationals Funko Pop just because they did the 2 different colored eyes for him.
Oh,
And I
that's
thought
cool.
that was like super cool.
Wait, what is it?
The Funko Pops.
What the heck is that?
You don't know what a Funko Pop is, dude? They're
Basically
old now.
like bobbleheads, except they don't bobble. They're like action figures
they have,
almost.
So
like,
those
a
are
bunch
little
of-
square one things, little square.
Yeah, they have like big heads.
Yeah, I think I
I'll
know.
pull
I
that
think I know what he's talking. Let's see. Be really nice. Oh yeah, that's what I figured.
Okay. I was like,
That's what
we
I
don't know
thought it
what that
was.
is.
Yeah, no, okay. That's fair. You guys got to keep in mind, I am old. I am ancient. Well, see, okay, so like everyone talks about like, oh, it's been X amount of years since the Blue Jays were in the World Series and stuff, and they're like, I'm like, screw you guys, dude. I was born before that. Like, screw you. Like, screw you, Fox. John Smoltz, you were pitching back then. Shut up. Like,
No matter what, they were trying to make you feel bad, either the Blue Jays or the Mariners.
Yeah, well, see, I grew up with, when I was growing up, Edgar Martinez, Ken Griffey Jr.,
Yeah, you had prime. Yeah,
Buhner, I think Richie Sexton was even on one of those teams. Like, yeah,
Brett Boone.
They were good. They were so good.
yeah, they're awesome.
This is actually pre-Ichiro even on that. So
Jamie Moyer.
A-Rod?
Dude, I just saw Dylan, his son. Hutton and Dylan. Hutton played in the Angel system. Dylan was a two-way guy for the Dodgers. Before being a two-way was cool. We've still got some court case stuff going on, guys, and I didn't think we'd touch on it as much as we always had, or we were expecting to, but the Tyler Skaggs versus the Angels trial is getting some turning points. Struggle for me, I'm going to be real honest about it. Tim Mead is an incredibly good friend of mine. He wrote the foreword for the book I wrote. I absolutely loved him, and just seeing him on trial and all this was really tough to read. Just really tough. Basically, Tim denied knowing the substantiality of what the drug use was for Eric K. that led to giving opioids and other drugs to players. There were 5 players mentioned: C.J. Cron, Blake Parker, Matt Harvey, 2 more, and I can't remember who it was. Mike Morin was one of them. Another, I love Mike Morin, absolutely love Mike, and I know I'm missing one, but tough to read his comments, but part of it is what we do is we have to cover this stuff. So sad to see that Tim was just unaware of Eric K's abuse when it came to drugs, and that led to the death of Tyler Skaggs. Also, Tom Taylor has some comments there, and Mike Trout was on trial today. Embarrassed is probably the way I would put it. He was not proud of some of the things that came out that they made Eric do. Mike noted that he became aware of Eric's drug problems, was willing to pay for rehabilitation, drug rehabilitation for it. And we know a little bit about what's going on there. Have you guys been following the court case at all on that, Jack? I think I'm trying really hard to not be emotionally attached to this, but it does involve people that I care about extremely. So not that you don't care about these people. I'm not going to put you in that sense, but maybe you can take us through this a little bit more.
Yeah, it's, obviously it's still early in the trial, so I'm not going to jump out to sweeping conclusions about anything yet. But just, some things to note. They've had 3 people testify now. They've had Trout, is it Tom Taylor, secretary? Tom Taylor, the traveling secretary, or former traveling secretary for the Angels,
Still
and then
with the
Tim
team,
Mead. Oh, he's still with the team, yes.
Yeah, Tim's the one that left. Tim
Yes.
was the PR rep.
And they've all had different testimonies. Tim Mead, like you said, denied knowing the extent of the drug use for Eric K. Tom Taylor denied any knowledge of Eric K. using drugs. And then Mike Trout kind of took a similar route to Tim Mead, where he knew he was dealing with drugs, but didn't know the extent of it. And you mentioned, the pranks and stuff or not really the pranks, but the horseplay.
It's going to sound so stupid and crappy.
Yeah.
I think, the president made a joke about it 8 years ago about it being locker room talk. It kind of is locker. If you've played baseball, you know what a clubhouse is like, and it is little horseplay nonsense. And when you look back on it, it's absolute utter garbage. It's a load of crap, but it does happen in every clubhouse, right?
And the important part about that is once not just Trout, but once the guys knew where the money was going towards, they shut that down quick, so that there was no more horseplay after that. Once they found out where the money was going to, which ended up being Eric K's, helping him pay for more drugs and stuff. So those are kind of just the main points that have been made so far. Do we know who's testifying tomorrow? I haven't seen.
No, I do not. No.
Okay.
I want to make a note about this, and I've got to run through this. Have you read through some of the stuff from today? And like we said, we are recording on.
I read today's.
I love that there was someone there, and it's just like they were asking him like, who made the play at third base? Congrats on your 400th home run.
Yeah.
And it's like I love that it was Megan Cuniff who does some stuff for independent reporter for Southern California, etc. She just said there are so many irrelevant questions like this being asked. No one is batting an eye. That's what's going to come up with this crap is like, look, we all like Mike Trout. Like, he's a good dude. And like, yeah, congratulations on hitting your 400th home run. It's a freaking courtroom, dude. Like, who's this idiot lawyer? Like, and that's the thing. Like, I mentioned it, I don't know if Tyler Skaggs' lawyer is trying to be like humanize himself or because I told you guys from the get-go on this is that the lawyers are going to make people out to be really bad, and the lawyers are just doing their job. This is not doing your job. This is looking like an idiot and a clown in a courtroom. So I don't know what his point was for this stuff, but like, keep to the relevance of what the court case really is. Sorry, yeah. Thomas, have you been following along at all?
Yeah, I have. You guys pretty much have summed up everything that's gone on in it. A lot of just. I think I was like really shocked when I was finding out the horseplay stuff. I know that kind of stuff happens because I played football growing up, right? So I was a teenage kid when we did stupid things. Never did anything like eating a pimple though, that kind of stuff, etc. But yeah, it's really crazy to see what's going on though. I haven't read anything from today's trial. I'll probably read it. I usually read this stuff before I go to bed.
Yeah.
So I'll probably catch up later tonight, and next episode I'll probably be able to give you a little more information. But I'm sure we're gonna have more stuff come out from then. So it's just a matter of staying tuned, seeing what happens. Yeah, it's what we expected.
And I want to go to some clarity here. Well, go ahead and keep running. My bagel.
No, you're good.
Bagel. Taking
so,
well, I want to give some clarity on a comment real quick. As I said, this is something that we all have been in clubhouses and stuff, like eating pimples off of guys' backs and like talking about vagina and stuff like that. Like, that's not what I was talking about. I'm talking about like, hey, wear this helmet. We're gonna hit you as hard as we can with something, like that kind of stupid crap, right? Not not the other stuff. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, just for clarity.
That's sake. It's just people being dumb. Like, you do dumb things because you're a young 20-year-old. Like, there's a lot of dumb things that I've done at 20 years old. You know?
Well, I think it was like Trevor May was like asked about it on his podcast, and I know that I
Yes.
keep bringing up Mayday, but it's like he's like something came up where like the Dominicans were playing sword fights with their dicks and stuff, and it's like no, I haven't done that, but like does it surprise you? No, like just stupid kid stuff, you know. So yeah, clarity's sake, sometimes people are just silly. I don't want to use the word dumb, but silly. So. Closing thoughts, guys. We did Kurt Suzuki, new Angels manager, a court case going on, World Series, playoffs, anything else that kind of comes up in your mind here?
This is breaking news. Ross Johnson scored a goal.
No, what? As a defenseman?
I don't think he's slotted in as defenseman tonight. He's fourth. I think he's fourth line left winger.
Oh, he was the seventh. Oh no, Ian Moore. That's right. They scrapped.
That was
him.
Ian Moore.
That's right. They scrapped him because of Ian Moore. Really good for Ross, man.
And Radko Gudas with the primary assist.
Hell yeah.
So if Ross could score again at some point this season, it will be the first time he's had multiple goals in a season since 2021-2022. That was 5 years ago.
That's a scary thought. The fact that that's 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Ross Marchese, our boss, is in Toronto for the World Series. He'll be mixing time between Toronto and LA. Zachcav is flying out to Boston as we speak. He literally just jumped on a plane like
shipping to Boston.
Shipping up to Boston. The boys are back. What else we got? I don't know. We can't play that because of copyright, but whatever. Thomas, I would love to play that out, but still, we can't do that.
If I knew how to play it on guitar, I could just grab out my guitar and there we go. I think you're good.
So let's go to our musical question because let me see here. Well, no, keep rolling. Any other closing thoughts, guys? Closing thoughts.
No, I mean, I don't think I really have any. I mean, I will say, and I was at the game. My girlfriend's a Dodgers fan. Full transparency for people.
Oh goodness.
But I was at the game where Ohtani hit the 3 homers and 10 strikeouts, and that was just unbelievable to see in person. And that's one of the best performances I've ever seen. And just shout out. Just give it flowers, man. That's unbelievable.
It was the 13th time in playoff history someone hit 3 home runs in a game. It was the 57th time a pitcher has gone at least 6 innings, no runs, at least 10 strikeouts. But it's the first time both have happened by the same player in the same game.
Yeah. Incoming, dude. Max Scherzer's dropping 3. He's gonna have a 4 home run night. Yeah. Max Scherzer.
Well, last time Max Scherzer had a bat, he bunted one off his face and broke his nose.
All right, guys, just show of hands here. Let's hope for it. Raise your hand if you hope that either Clayton Kershaw or Max Scherzer is the World Series MVP.
It would be hilarious to see Kershaw win a World Series MVP.
Or Scherzer. I'm all for Scherzer.
I do like Jackson.
More so Kershaw because of the narratives.
That's true. Oh, that's right.
I like your idea of them pitching against each other, and if they both rode off into the sunset, it'd be awesome because I think they made their debuts against each other when Scherzer was in Arizona. Or at least
it wasn't their debuts.
Yeah.
It was their rookie year.
Rookie
year.
Because it was supposed to be Randy Johnson versus Greg Maddux.
Yeah.
And
that's a big. People got Clayton Kershaw versus Scherzer, and we're probably bummed at the time and are looking back like, damn, that aged perfectly.
It's a beautiful, beautiful game. So, all right, boys, we'll save weekend plans. We're gonna get Zachcav back out here in the near future. Real quick, there's only 2 of you, so this is gonna be an easy one. Keep 1, drop 2. Flogging Molly, Dropkick Murphys, Real McKenzie's. Who you got?
Can you slow down and say it in a sentence, please? What?
What was that last one?
The 3 bands today that we will speak of. Drop 2, keep 1. Flogging Molly, the Dropkick Murphys, or the Real McKenzies.
I gotta say, I don't know anything about any of them.
What? You just noted their song.
Oh, is that the Shipping to Boston?
Shipping Up to Boston, Dropkick Murphys.
I don't know who
Thomas
wrote that
is
song.
sitting here, he's like, I don't know.
Thomas is Googling it right now.
I don't know who the Real McKenzies are. I'm literally looking them up.
Dude.
Oh my gosh, what a bunch of Scottish
you're missing
words.
out, man.
So they're the ones I would get rid of. Easily.
You got to get rid of 2.
I don't know them. Oh, I gotta get rid of 2? I dropped Flogging Molly for Dropkick.
So do you know who the Sex Pistols are?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, Real McKenzies are the exact opposite because they're good. Sex Pistols suck.
Whoa.
Dude, they suck. Come on. They're awful.
God Save the Queen was fantastic.
Garbage. Was that a swear jar moment? Did you just drop an F? Did I miss it? Did I hear it wrong?
I said God Save the Queen.
Was something
Fantastic?
fantastic? I heard an adjective before fantastic.
That was fantastic.
Oh, I thought I heard an adjective. There you go.
You wanted me to say effing fantastic.
I'm hearing things, man. I'm getting old in my Max Scherzer age. All right, guys, let's get out of here. I don't have a piece of paper, but let's call it a day. You guys can follow Jack Janes on socials at JackJanes_. You guys can follow Thomas Murray at Thomas_L_Murray. You can follow me at Taylorblakeward. You can find all our work at www.thesportingtribune.com. Zach Kavanaugh will join us next time, maybe later this week. We'll see. Everyone get out of here. Have fun. Have a good week, weekend, etc. Bye. Go home. Go to bed.
I'll enjoy my sushi.
Go to bed. Go to bed. You
Right,
lousy young man.
I wish I can go to bed. That'd be nice.